Hello, and welcome to our session on developing apps for Windows. I'm Thomas Fennell, and I'm a PM on the Windows Developer Platform team, working on Project Reunion, among other things. And I'm here today with Andrew Klinick, who's also from the Windows Developer Platform team, and most importantly, is actually my boss. How are you, Andrew?
I'm just peachy, Thomas. Thank you.
Are you sure?
Nope.
Now, folks, before we jump into everything we've got to talk about today, I wanted to tease you a bit to stick around till the end if you can put up with us. We've got something I think you're really going to want to see, something you haven't seen before. It's great for developers. Now, Andrew, today there are numerous different app models for creating desktop Windows apps, and not all of them work on all versions of Windows. And additionally, folks who build to the lowest common denominator, usually thought of as Win32, they often miss out on the latest and greatest UI technologies.
You know, that's a great question, Thomas. In terms of when we think about Project Reunion, why are we doing it? We're doing it to help with exactly those problems. And the reason why we're helping with those problems is we got a lot of feedback from developers because we're developing Project Reunion out in the open. And Project Reunion's sole goal is to help unify all those technologies so that developers don't have to make a choice in what technologies to use in order to build great Windows apps. And that's really what it's all about, building great Windows apps.
You know, that's exciting for sure. I noticed you're wearing a shirt today.
I know. Pretty cool, huh?
Are you sure you're okay?
What about yours? I mean, I think mine just has a certain something.
That's exciting for sure, Andrew. So we have a number of other topics to talk about today and a number of cool demos. I thought we'd start with the key themes that we're going to work on today: reach, simplicity, speed, and future-proofing. Can you talk a bit more about those?
I can, Thomas. Thank you. Reach and simplicity is actually really what Reunion is focusing on. From a reach perspective, we really want to ensure that when you build your applications, you're not leaving any customers behind, because after all, you're building an app for your customers. So Reunion is actually decoupled from the operating system so that you can ship a Windows application built on Reunion on any version of Windows 10. And that's really key. And the other key part of that is to ensure that you can ship it as fast as possible. You don't have to wait for your users to get to the latest version of Windows. Just take the latest Project Reunion framework package and off you go.
Okay, and so for desktop technologies like Win32, WPF, WinForms, et cetera, I think what you're saying is we're sort of doubling down on those. But then what about for when you want to modernize your app with something new? What do you do there? What's our North Star?
Yeah, so Reunion is all about ensuring that you can utilize all the tech you're using. So if you're a WPF developer, now I know you're a WinForms lover, so even you, Thomas, can use Project Reunion. And that was the key part of it, is that you can do that. But we want to learn from our developer feedback and build these North Star technologies to ensure that we can really drive the next generation of Windows applications. So WinUI from a UI perspective, WinUI 3, currently Reunion, and MSIX, which we believe is the ultimate way to deploy your application, are our two North Star techs. Now, of course, you don't have to use them. We think you should. You know that I'm a big MSIX fan, so we would like you to use those, but Project Reunion is available to you no matter what tech you use.
So you're telling me that you're listening to your customers?
That's right. And as you know, as an employee in my team, how much I listen.
Do you, though?
Occasionally.
So Project Reunion does sound promising. And I understand we have a couple demos that we could show about that. So let's take a look.
Okay, let's take a look at how Project Reunion is going to allow me to build some really great applications that will run on all versions of Windows 10 so I don't leave any customers behind. Now, in this demo, I'm going to take a look. I'm actually running on 1809, which is the oldest version of Windows 10 that is currently in support. So we support from 1809 onwards for Project Reunion. So let's take a look at the application. So we have a standard solution, and I'm going to look at my Ebook reader project. So let's take a look actually at the project file, first of all. And you notice it's a .NET app. I'm producing a WinExe. I'm targeting .NET 5 in this case. But I'm also targeting x86, x64, no big surprise, but ARM64. Project Reunion makes it a lot easier for you to target ARM64, which is going to be key for future Windows devices. And if you look at this, I have a reference to the Project Reunion NuGet package is 0.5. And I also have the pinvoke one there to make it easier for me to actually get access to my Win32 APIs. Because Project Reunion allows me to call all APIs that are available on Windows. So let's take a look at the code behind the app. So standard start of the app, I call initialize component, set the title, but then I'm going to call load icon. Now, the astute of you are probably thinking, well, hold on, I could just set the icon anyway. Well, in Reunion 0.5, we don't actually enable you to set the icon for the application, but no worries, because now I can call all of the Win32 APIs. So I have my load icon, so let's take a look. You notice now I'm getting an HWind. So I get full HWind from my application. I don't have to use core window if you're familiar with that. And then I'm just going to use the standard user 32 load image, and I'm going to get the icon, and here's my icon of some books, and these are standard Windows icons. And I'm just going to set that icon, and then I'm just going to load the image, the 48 by 48, and then to set the icon, I'm going to use good old send message with a WM set icon and with a handle to that file. So the great thing here is you can utilize all the code that you use today and all the plethora of code that's out there from middleware and third parties that run on Win32 are going to run just great in your Reunion application. So let's take a look at the app. So Reunion ebook reader with my nice icon there. Now, when it loads up, I am actually making this a little bit artificial. I'm going to click on the settings page. Now, obviously, you wouldn't do this for a normal user. But the reason I do this is when I click select folder, what I actually want to show is I'm getting a standard common file dialog here. It is that this isn't file picker. You're getting full access to all the APIs. So I'm going to select the ebooks collection, select folder, and then do apply changes. And when I apply those changes, it's going to load those ebooks from that folder and show them using some of the great controls that are in WinUI. So I get a nice animation. And when I click on the Wizard of Oz, then what I'm actually using here is WebView 2. WebView 2 is a standard control as part of WinUI that uses the same engine that Edge uses, the new Chromium-based Edge. And the great thing about this is you don't have to ship Chromium with your application in order to use it, because you just take a reference to the system WebView 2, and if it's not there, we'll install it for you. But if it is, then you'll just take advantage of it. It's great for disk space, great for your download size too. And the really cool thing is, because it's a shared instance, the memory usage of Chromium, which is frankly not the most memory efficient out there, is dramatically reduced. And as I go through here, you notice I can scroll in, scroll out. I get full control over this. And because ebooks are an HTML-based thing, I don't have to do that. I can take advantage of it easily. So the great thing about this is that, of course, then I can use all the standard controls in WinUI that makes things like this with acrylic, with this menu system, really easy to do. Actually quite difficult to use it in WPF. So you can build really engaging applications really quickly and ship whenever you want to, because you can target this as soon as Reunion ships, because you don't have to worry about what version of Windows a user is using. So you can target all your users with Project Reunion.
Cool.
Really? That's all you've got?
Cool. I think the team's working well to ensure, though, that customers can make the most of their existing investments while going beyond and truly modernizing their apps.
Yeah, in that demo, which was pretty cool, I thought, you really saw a lot of the interaction between Win32, .NET 5, WinUI 3, WebView 2, and even the bit of pinvoke and HWind. And that really shows how you can really mix all the technologies that you have today and the technology you want to move to tomorrow, so you can build this great app.
So, did you write that code?
I wrote some of it. You notice that my colleague Miguel actually wrote most of it. In fact, most of the cool stuff was from Miguel. But you notice the older code, the pinvoke, HWind, I'm pretty proud of that. So yeah, I wrote some.
Cool. So There was something in there I noticed that you probably don't want to talk about, and I need to bring it up. The packaging project.
Why, thank you for that excellent question, Thomas. That really makes me feel at ease. The packaging project, you know, we get a lot of feedback about the packaging project. Strangely, not from the packaging project fan group, because there isn't one.
No.
The feedback we got is packaging project is great if you really want to do complex MSAX applications. But oftentimes you don't want to do that. You just want to be able to build your application and not have to worry about that. So the new Project Reunion project system, which we'll be going into preview pretty soon, you'll just be able to hit F5, which is how you expect to build your applications. And you don't have to worry about doing any of that because we build the MSAX in the background for you. So, you know, we wanted to make it seamless for you to be able to do that and quick. And now, of course, I'm a big fan of MSAX. As Thomas knows, I bore him quite often.
Yes, you are an MSIX salesman.
Right. But the key thing here is that we want you to use MSX, but you don't have to use MSX. All of this is available. If you set up the XE, MSI, you can even deploy from a floppy disk if you want and use Project Reunion.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to miss the packaging project.
I can tell. That's very sincere. Yeah.
So then, you know, going beyond that and building awesome Windows apps with Project Reunion and WinUI 3, tell us about how we've been partnering with our friends in the .NET team.
Yeah, you know, working together is become so important, and that's actually one of the most exciting things about Microsoft right now is really, you know, working together to solve customer problems. We're working with the .NET team and specifically the MAUI team to work really closely together with WinUI 3. You saw WinUI 3 there, does some really cool stuff. But we know that people want to be able to use those skills and utilize those skills in other places. So we're working really closely with the .NET MAUI team. And what they've done is they've integrated .NET MAUI, and they're using WinUI 3 and Project Reunion to deliver amazing Windows apps, as well as those apps on the other operating systems. Now, the best way to see this is really just to show a demo. And luckily, they've built a demo for us. So, you know, it won't be quite as exciting as mine, but it's pretty good.
But we don't have to listen to you.
That's right. So there's always a bonus.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Let's take a look.
This year, .NET 6 introduces .NET MAUI for building beautiful native multi-platform apps for mobile and desktop using a single project and hot reload. Here we have a beautiful weather app built with .NET MAUI. It's backed by a minimal .NET API showing us the current weather, hourly and daily forecast, catalog of widgets. And this UI is completely shared across Android, iOS, macOS, and of course, Windows. Now, when running on Windows, we get full advantage of WinUI 3 and Project Reunion. And native platform features just light up for us, like app actions off of the app icon in the taskbar. System tray integration, where we can place the .NET bot. And if I click on the bot, I get native local notifications right there. Running on Windows with WinUI 3, these awesome features easily light up when developing with .NET MAUI.
So that looked great and represented a lot of feedback from our developer community. They wanted to see, you know, the two technology stacks, WinUI and MAUI, working together. And speaking of the community, there's other kinds of top-level community feedback that we've been working on lately. Let's talk a little bit about those.
Yeah, and I think a couple of things we really want to discuss here is that future-proofing is our final theme really for today. And in the future, really working clearly with the community is super important. And they've been very clear with us what things they would like to do. The first one is ARM64 support, which is so super important. And the second one is the notification support on Windows could really do with some help. And they're not really happy with the way it's gone so far, Thomas. So who's the PM for notifications on Windows?
We do get a lot of feedback, you're right, from places like GitHub and angry community.
I've got to push you on the question. Who is the PM for the notifications?
I believe that's Niku.
I believe it's actually your responsibility, Thomas.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, well, you're right. There is actually a lot of feedback there. As a matter of fact, push notifications is the second most requested feature in Project
Which
Reunion
is actually really cool.
today. And you know, I think instead of me just talking about that, why don't we show people what we can do with push notifications going forward.
I think that would be an excellent idea. I'm glad that Niku's actually done something here.
Let's take a look.
Okay, so previously in our ebook reader, you saw we only had the ability to choose local books from the disk, and we're thinking about now adding the ability to store books in a shared library with others in the cloud. But instead of polling that cloud repository on a regular basis to see if there's new books, which is inefficient and wasteful for battery, why not just get notified if a new book is available? These kind of scenarios are kind of exactly why I'm showing you this website. Push notifications are perfect for this. We thought it'd be important to show that in this demo because from the community's perspective, this is actually the #2 most asked for thing in Project Reunion. So we're giving you a little sneak peek of what's coming in Project Reunion 1.0. And if you wanted to learn more about it, you could go check this issue out and learn more about our proposal for push notifications going forward. But let's get to the demo part. So what I've got is I have the console app that I'm going to use here already installed. But wait, a console app? Like, why would we use a console app? Well, a couple reasons. A lot of developers do exactly this. They build a simple console app to learn how something works and to see if it's feasible to add it to their app. And it also shows that Project Reunion really is for any app type. I mean, what's more Win32 than a humble console app? So the app itself is here. You notice I've launched it, and what it did is it gave me a URI. Now, I know it's not going to win any design awards, but that's actually a really important part of what this app does, because a URI is how you communicate with your application whenever you're trying to send a push notification. So all I've got to do is grab this URI out of this console app. It's serving its purpose for this. I'm just going to copy it. I'm going to go over here to Postman, and I'm going to be able to send a notification to it. Now, in the real world, you'd use some server code to do this, but since I'm sort of playing around and learning how all this works, I'm just going to use Postman because it's the quickest and easiest thing for the job. So I can just throw my URL in here. I've already built up sort of a quick raw notification. You can see it's not very complicated. It's just a blob for all intents and purposes. And when I post it to this URI, you'll notice that the console app instantly has received that, and it's told me, hey, I received this from the foreground because the app was already running, and being able to intercept a push notification when your app is in the foreground is really important because the app is hopefully or potentially something the user is using a lot, and so you don't want to miss notifications when that's happening. But better yet, what if the app wasn't running? What if I actually close this app altogether? I'm going to send the same raw payload, except, well, I don't know. Why don't we add like background in here just so we can prove it, and send the same payload, and the app's not running, and you'll notice that I'm actually able to activate the application and show that I received the content from the background. You can even see there's background that I added right there, because this is simulating what happens when you want to do some work in the background for your application. Maybe, for example, that list of books got updated and I want to update the local database for the customer, and so I send a push notification down that says, hey, go ahead and sync with the server and get the latest set of books. This shows you that background is also possible with something as simple as a console app. In this case, I just chose to activate the app to show it. Now, next, what if we wanted to do some visual notifications as well as part of this app and show that path? So I've built a simple toast here that would say, hey, you've got a new book available. It's just using the same XML payload that we use whenever we do any kind of notification from the service. When I go to send it, this one is a toast type. It's actually got to have the URL in it first. Let's try that again. And what do you know? I get a nice visual notification that something's changed on the service. And when I click it, I can activate the application. So we've got all the scenarios covered here. We've got background covered, we've got foreground covered, and we've even got toast notifications and activations there working. And so now with all of that, I can see how all this works, and I can feel confident in adding this to my Win32 ebook reader that's using Project Reunion.
So we've seen some cool demos today, Andrew. And really, we need to talk a little bit about the roadmap.
Yes, but before that, I got to say, Thomas, that was a pretty great demo. I really like the push for quality you had on that.
Cool.
Excellent. So you want to know about roadmap. That's really what you would like to know.
When can we get this stuff?
So praise doesn't matter. Okay, noted. So when we think about Project Reunion, the roadmap, we want to be very clear about our roadmap. And in fact, there's actually a much more detailed roadmap available on our GitHub. So 3 major releases this year. 0.5, we actually launched back on March 29th, and we've been actually doing some servicing on that as well. And this is one of the key things for us to remember, is these are GA releases. These are releases which we're actually supporting. So we've had a number of bugs. Shocking, I know that we had a bug. But we fixed those, and I think we're on 0.5.6, I think, right now, as of right now. And that's available today. 0.8 is coming real soon. Preview coming late May. We should be shipping sometime in June. And then this is all building up to 1.0 towards the end of the year. And that is really where we see the culmination of our first release. And there's a lot more tech that you're seeing in preview right now that will actually ship in 1.0.
3 releases is the best you could do this year?
You know, I think 3 is a pretty decent number, honestly. You're not impressed, I can tell.
It's okay. So I know there's a lot more that we have to offer here, and it's too much to really cover in a single session. So tell us a little bit about how people can follow up and learn more, Andrew.
You know, that's actually a really great segue. Thank you, Thomas. So I think aka.ms Microsoft Project Reunion, MS Project Reunion, is really the key, because on that, they'll take you to our GitHub, and on there we have a roadmap, we have all our issues, and we really encourage you to provide feedback on that. And because that's really important, and we actually really take advantage of that inside of our team. We're looking at that constantly to make sure that we're delivering the right features.
And also, aka.ms whack project reunion whack push, because you could join the private beta for push notifications that we have available for Project Reunion as well.
It's all about you, right?
It is about me. Now, thank you, Andrew. I just wanted to be able to have the last word for once, please. We appreciate everyone's time.
Really? The last word? You know that wasn't going to work. I thought we actually had a speakerphone here, but you've been hiding something from me, Thomas. What is this thing?
So this, Andrew, is what I said that people should stick around to see. This is actually a low-cost ARM64 desktop development device that we've been partnering with Qualcomm on, that's built on Snapdragon. It's a Snapdragon desktop developer kit.
That is so cool. All honesty, that is so super cool. I can't touch it?
Don't touch it.
Okay, all right. But I can admire it from afar. So the great thing about this, I could just stick that on my desk and pretend to code against it as a manager. But for real developers, they can actually get stuff done. That's
right. And it's going to be available in the Microsoft Store this summer and in additional regions soon after that. And for more info, you can see the Qualcomm Developer Network website.
That's great. It's such a cute little developer box. Sorry.
Touch it.
Won't touch it. I realize. I'm just admiring. Awesome.
Thanks very much.
So that's coming soon?
Yeah, very soon.
Excellent.
So.
That was easy. Look at that. It's even got an English accent. It sounds so much better.